Right. Wonderful. Welcome, everyone. My name is Chantal Howard. Most of you know me as the Faithful Oil Mom. Tonight, we're going to go in a little deeper direction. We are discussing our lives at the deepest level of our meaning and our purpose. And I know so many of you are just exhausted and tired and fed up with feeling compromised. You want to shift into that composed version of yourself. So tonight, we're going to look at that. We're going to deep dive into what it takes. And I'm going to share with you not only my personal journey, but I'm going to share with you a beautiful path that I hope that many of you will choose to follow. In addition to that, I'm going to pepper our webinar with 4 of my most favorite oil blends. They are going to just be kind of the grounding little connection back to our relationship within the context of the essential oil world, because I know so many of you have been following along, trekking along with me in that space, and you love your oils, as do I, of course. But again, tonight, we're going to deep dive and expand the conversation. So let's go. So many of you have come to know my beautiful family. I love my family. I've got gobs of kids and a grandbaby, and I live in this beautiful place. And many of you have come to just journey with me throughout the course of the last 10 years. But some of you are meeting me for the first time, and you're encountering me where I am currently as the director of the Wholeness Coaching School, a school that serves in over 40 countries. It's one of the top Forbes coaching schools for 2021. This is a pretty remarkable place that I am at right now. We're building a little home near the water. We have, in a lot of respects, we've kind of arrived. Now, do we ever completely? Of course not. But according to that picture, you might think so. And in a lot of respects, I can say without equivocation, I'm happy. I'm fulfilled in my mission. I'm pouring myself out each day in a way that brings me meaning and mission. I feel like I'm part of a bigger movement. I'm part of something that deeply identifies with my design, with what I was called to do on this earth, which I know from the very beginning, from the teeniest beginnings of my life, I knew I was called to lead, to be a leader. I've had the heart of a champion. I've wanted to pursue excellence, whether it's in athletics, or within my marriage, or as an author, a teacher, an evangelist, a coach. I have never wavered from this belief that I'm a saint in the making. I'm a visionary. I want it all. I want it all, not in a greedy sense, but in the sense of I want fulfillment. And I know that ultimately my finality lies in union with God. But in the meantime, I'm going to continue to pursue it. And I'm like that person knocking on the door of the Lord, just being like, hey, tell me, what am I supposed to focus on? What is my mission? Show me the next step. I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up. But believe it or not, this has not always been me. And I'm going to let you into a little window into my life here in a minute. But here's a couple fun facts. So when I was a kid, I was Minnesota state champion at the age of 12 as a gymnast. Absolutely loved gymnastics, lived away from home for 2 years, trained 6 hours a day, just my entire life. I used to say I would eat, I would breathe, I would drink, and I would do gymnastics. And that was my life. And that and Nintendo on a little Game Boy as I iced my aching body between workouts. The world evolved around me at that time. And at the same time, it tested my character. It tested my resolve. It really forced me into discovering the process of discernment at a young age. And it was the beginning of my journey as a coach, because I was the product of coaching. And I had to listen, higher, more, stronger, more reps, more basics, more foundations, keep going, don't quit, push it, get back up, right? Try again. So that was a fun part of my life. I left the sport just prior to my father passing away when I was 14. And I was grateful I did, because I wanted to go back and sit at the feet of my mother and learn and grow in depth, which led me to actually spend time discerning a religious vocation in a beautiful country monastery in the middle of France. And there was depth awakening in me. I was spending time reading and studying deep philosophy of life. the philosophy of friendship, the philosophy of work. And from that emerged this desire to really bring about a contribution. What was interesting is God didn't end up calling me into religious life. He ended up calling me to marriage. And I had a strong sense that this was going to be the vocation that would bring me to heaven's gate. Little did I know that it was going to be through the crucible of marriage that he would teach me all that I needed to learn in order to really come closer to him. And so with that idealism, with that dream, with that belief of excellence and exceptionalism, I entered into marriage, and my husband had a similar vision. And sadly, the two of us, we crushed each other under the weight of our expectation. And I'm going to tell you more about that in a minute. But you can find the story of my journey through childhood, my journey through faithfulness with my family, my journey into the richness of family life in this book called The School of the Family. I published in 2010, which was fun. It was a great project. It was a great accomplishment to be able to have completed that work and to bring it to the world and to learn to live up to it, which is kind of the message of today. We're going to talk about moving from compromised to composed. Another fun fact is that we lived full-time as an RV family for much of 2016 and traveled the country, had a big rig, big truck, and transitioned and traveled all across the country. So just a little glimpse into the adventurous spirit of my life and my desire to always be in pursuit of wholeness. That is the quest. Most of you know me as a doTERRA advocate, and in this space, I've sought excellence as well. I've taught thousands of clients. I was one of the top sales advocates in our company, along with as a gold wellness advocate. That's one of our upper echelon of the ranks. There's several more above. There's lots of diamonds, blue diamonds, presidential diamonds. But I was actually, that's still considered a very exceptional sales individual who did great work within this space. And I continue to this day. I traveled to build this business around the country multiple times away from my family for upwards of 4 months. I would do an intensive travel cycle, and I would just go out again and again and again, travel the country. COVID obviously changed things, became much more adept to online education, but I wasn't afraid of just figuring it out, failing and trying and trying. And many of you, I've failed. You've stuck with me through it. You've seen me try new things and work towards new goals and come up short time and again, try different angles and try to continue to serve and bring value. As a result, I've generated over $1 million in revenue through my doTERRA business. And I won trips to Tulum, Mexico, and Dominican Republic and Hawaii, and a Caribbean cruise, and a trip to Sedona, Arizona with my husband, which was epic. So you might get the impression after I've listed all of these fun things that, yeah, boy, she's got it figured out. But like I said, it wasn't always that way. I had to go through an extraordinary journey of rediscovering my first love, my love for not only the Lord and my faith and my purpose, but my first love, which has to be here, this belief that God has poured into me something unique. And from my love of self, not in a selfish way, but love yourself so you can give to others, right? Love others as you love yourself. Oof. So rediscovering this was very hard after the weight of my marriage came pressing down on both of us. And this was a mutual struggle because we both had such extraordinary dreams, but limited ability to actually implement love in everyday life. Idealism and dreams without design and discipline are brutal weapons that we can use to beat each other up. And that's the way I felt. I felt crushed by the weight of my dreams and my failures to be able to live up to what I thought we would do in our marriage, especially when we were young. So I was wounded. My self-image was wounded. Oh my goodness, I can't tell you how many times I feel like in my early marriage, I was just crushed under the weight. I remember just going to sleep, crying my eyes out, going, why can't I fulfill what I set out to do? Why can't I be the wife that I set out to be? Why can't I be the mom that I set out to be? I was really empty. And yet I just said, no, I'm not gonna give up. So learning to fail forward, learning not to give up, learning to reach out for a guide. I remember when we got our marriage coaches, revolutionized our relationship because we finally humbled ourselves enough to say, you know what, guess what? Even though we have it all up here, we got to figure out how to connect the dots. We got to figure out how to bring those dreams, those incredible longings into our life. We have to give birth to them, and we need somebody's help. I need a coach. And what ended up happening is our wounds became our compass. And the epitome of this was that 19 years into, no, I'm sorry, not 19 years. Well, I guess it was 19 years into marriage because she was 18. Our oldest daughter was caught in a very unhealthy relationship. She ended up pregnant. She battled to make that decision for life, which we wholeheartedly supported. But we all had to come, like the crossroads of our lives just met there. We all had to come face to face with, are we okay with believing that we don't have to be perfect, but we can never stop striving to love each other through our messes, through our struggles? And are we ready to really mount up a new charge, a charge of dedication to the simple things, a dedication to seeing each other through each day, finding the wins, finding the victories, skilling up, growing forward? I'm just so happy to report my sweet Gemma, my little Josephine, who you see on the screen, are thriving. It's just, I've never seen such a beautiful young mom. She's just embraced her life. And as a result of the mercy and the tenderness that we were able to surround her with, she literally found her wings. 38 weeks pregnant, this girl got her pilot's license. And we're just so proud of her because she just exemplifies the fact that, again, this idea of going from compromised to composed is not about perfection. It's about a pursuit of wholeness, which means harmony, growing in harmony. Instead of compromise, we have to learn to harmonize with the design that's knit into us. So we had to really focus in on the small things, the routines, the skills, the daily disciplines, the daily acts of kindness, the tone of voice, the word choice that we would exchange with each other, consistency in holding each other accountable, risking the dream again, being willing to go back into the heart of another and be intimate and vulnerable. We had to learn how to pray together, how to actually have goals, have a budget, have a plan, how to forgive each other after catastrophic financial failures at times, how to move forward, to learn, to accelerate our growth, to never think we have it all figured out, but to remain humble, a student of life, to adventure together, to forgive one another, and to have a rule of life that's real, that actually takes into account the dynamics and the needs of a growing family. And again, not a rule of life that we would just use to punk each other with and be like, you're not good enough. You're not doing enough. Figure it out. No, one that says, I'll make concession for you. How can I support you? How can I come alongside you so that your dream can accelerate? Whew. An untrained life leaves us wanting. Despite the fact that both Peter and I had remarkable formation intellectually, the things that we had to come back to were daily study, deepening our self-awareness, staying focused on the fact that we can't change another. We can only focus here. Our thoughts create our emotion, which creates our action. So it's an individual interior journey that has to take place. If change is going to happen, it has to come from within the individual, not from outside coercion and pressure, manipulation, gaslighting. So self-awareness is so critical because in order for us to grow, we both have to take account. So this was in the context of our marriage. This is the place where my pain played out, where I had to learn to skill up, where I had to learn to rewire my thinking, where I had to expand out of a scarcity mentality into the belief that God wanted us not just to survive, but to thrive. I'll never forget when we did our RV traveling, we did so under a beautiful ministry title called Heroic Families. And I thought, oh gosh, it's a lot of pressure. And my husband said, well, honey, mediocrefamilies.com is already taken. I just remember chuckling. We had to rewire our thinking to believe that we could be a heroic family, a successful family, have a successful marriage. And we leaned on those powerful, beautiful guides. We became humble, spiritual direction, counseling, coaching, lots and lots of books, lots and lots of mentorship to help us find our way. These are the things that help move us from compromised to composed. So time out for just a minute. Don't lose that thought. But for a minute, I want to take you into the oil world. Balance is one of my most favorite essential oils. It's got the beautiful, calm, gentle, serene chamomiles, the Jane Austen side of the oil blend, which is part of who I am, of course. But it also has the strength of the frankincense and the spruce and the blue tansy that have this beautiful juxtaposed, firm but tender dynamic. And it's that idea of the dream and the reality, that they can come and coexist. The ideal to the real, that daily prayer, breathing, movement bring to life these subtle habits that begin to show up, compounded over time into a life of beauty, a life of discipline. So if you don't have balance, there you go. That's the oil to anchor to your dream time, okay? I love using balance in that way. Just on the wrists, deep breath, rub it through my hair, right? It's a beautiful oil to help ground your dreams, to help bring that humility, that idea that your feet are on the ground and your head is in the clouds. That's what's possible. So what is your struggle? Maybe you're feeling unfulfilled. Maybe your vocation or your career is just leaving you dissatisfied. Maybe you're just exhausted with being mom. Maybe it's in your marriage. Maybe at the end of the day, you're just feeling so chaotic and like a failure that you just want to throw in the towel each day. There's no dream. There's no time to dream. You're just numb. Maybe your marriage is wrought with contention, or you just feel really troubled. Troubled is depleted. There's a typo for you. Talk about not worrying about perfection. Maybe your soul is feeling depleted and you're feeling troubled. Maybe you don't know who you are anymore. Or you're at a crossroads, just retired or just had a baby or just had your 6th baby, right? I know that world. Maybe you're an entrepreneur and you're really intent on getting your business off the ground and you can't figure out why it's not working. I guarantee you it's not because you don't know your craft, you don't have a good product, or it's not the offer or the website or the branding or the logo. It's because your world around your business is lacking wholeness. Does that ring true? Do you feel like your business gets more attention than your family? Do you feel like half the time you're more married to your business than you are to your husband? These are the struggles that I know you're feeling. I know as a mom, that heartache. So what do we do? Here's the reality. These are the questions I had to ask myself, and these are the questions I'm going to pose to you today. 1, what is your dream? Are you willing to risk it again? Who are you becoming? Can you see her? Do you have a vision of what composed looks like? If you can't imagine it, it's not ever going to happen. Everything beautiful starts with a dream. God's vision of the world, his creation of his own mother, his design around you. It all starts with a dream. So do you know who you're becoming? If not, this is a skill that you can learn and a muscle you can strengthen, and you can get back to a place where you can believe again that a dream is even possible. What do you have to let go of? What do you have to jettison? What do you have to say no to? What do you have to surrender in order to make room for this new you, this new Eve in you? What does the composed version look like? Are you willing to pay the price? Are you willing to enter into new disciplines, new dedication, skill up, rise up, plan, proceed, like actually do the gritty work that it takes to teach an old dog new tricks? And maybe you're not even that old, but you still feel like that inside. You're like, am I just going to be stuck forever? I feel like can't tell you how many young people I talk to and they say, I've been looking for my spouse forever. I'm thinking, no, you haven't, but I can relate to that feeling. Are you willing to be held accountable? And are you willing to give someone permission to hold your feet to the fire? That's a big one. Whew. Okay, so how did this all play out? Once I started asking those questions in my life, what happened? I began to climb out rung by rung, routine by routine, effort by effort, back to a place where I could sing again and dance again and love again and believe in my marriage and my family and my kids and my call to be a leader and my call to fulfill this transformative work that I really knew as a kid I was called to. But it took me a long time to rediscover it again, to step out of scarcity into abundance. And it led to my life as a coach. At first, it was health coaching with essential oils. Remember the conversations many of you and I have had talking about where was your pain? What is your struggle? I can't tell you how many of you, we started out at a class, maybe in Austin or Long Island or Illinois or Colorado or San Diego. And we would sit knee to knee and we would exchange oils, and I would help you identify how to bring about natural solutions into your life where you could begin to take control of your health and your feelings of anxiety and your sleep. And from never having met you to talking about your hemorrhoids, I mean, it only took a few short minutes. We talk about the power of essential oils. We talk about taking ownership over your mind, over your life, over your faith, and how you could bring prayer and you could integrate nutrition and movement and sleep. So health coaching led to business coaching, which in turn led to wholeness coaching. Business coaching, many of you have worked and struggled and failed, right? As we've sought to build businesses side by side in the trenches together, how to create value, how to sell with integrity and passion. All of that is encompassed within this context of wholeness coaching, which basically says, look, you were made for something more. You were made to not feel pain all the time. You were made to have tools to combat the struggle of suffering in our lives, to embrace it with purpose. You were made to create value, to contribute, to pour back. All of this is encompassed in what it means to be whole. Now, will we ever be perfectly whole this side of heaven? No, but we stay in pursuit of it, because as we accelerate this journey of life and we keep moving towards it, we become a brighter and brighter light to the world. And that's noble. It's like Jordan Peterson says, yeah, suffering's real, pain is real. So why not aim high? Why not, right? Why not? Let's aim high. Let's aim up. Let's choose to continue to do something that is bringing value and recreating the world little by little, starting with our own self-image. So recently, and perhaps news to many of you, I was invited to partner with the Wholeness Coaching School and with January Donovan, who I'm going to introduce you to in just a moment. And I helped create a certification program for coaches. So I've been actively coaching coaches, actively teaching them the art of asking questions, of listening, of working with a client towards a common goal, of finding those nuggets that are worth holding on to, and setting up plan and accountability in place so that life can shift from stuck to unstuck. And what's beautiful is this certification for coaches, for strategists, was the byproduct of the school's best-selling product, the Women's School Masterclass. a class for students who are desiring wholeness with real exercises to help them move from feeling completely depleted into having ownership over their homes and their minds, managing their lives for the first time, many in the life of their existence. Most people don't get trained on the fundamentals of how to manage your self-worth, of how to engage, make disciplines, engage in relationships, hold your husband accountable, hold yourself accountable, your mindset around money, your relationships, how to create a beautiful environment and maintain it. How do you maintain a home? How do you clean a home? These are not things you get taught in school. How do you manage a budget? Most people skip right over the true life skills. And then they get stuck and they're like, well, I just guess I'm supposed to figure it out, how to have a baby, how to recover, how to manage juggling a new business and, my health, how to cook healthy meals. Where does this all come into play in the life of training for most women? It's pretty non-existent. So this masterclass, this wholeness masterclass, this women's school masterclass has been literally the catalyst of transformation for thousands of women. And as I analyzed it and as I encountered it and as I touched it and as I entered into it, I realized this is the tool in a class form that changed my life. And I want to share it with you. So meet January Donovan. She's a kindred spirit. We're both visionaries and very active businesswomen. We love our families. January has 8 kids. She was a Steubenville grad. She studied theology and philosophy. She grew a 7-figure business in 2 years, which is just crazy. She has a heroic story, moving from being a lost young woman to the founder of the Wholeness Coaching School. Her journey is powerful. It's worth listening to. If you ever get a chance to hear her story of going from broken to whole, is pretty remarkable. She's a dear friend. She's an accountability partner to me. We mutually send over our intermittent fasting reports for the week to one another. And she's my future co-author as we're preparing to write a book together, and the co-creator of the Wholeness Coaching Formula right alongside of me. So she and I are on a mission to help transform the culture of families and the culture of women through the course of this work. And so I'm so excited to really just kind of touch on this with you today, to show you, to pull back the curtain a little bit on what it is that you are longing for, to help you move from compromised to composed within a very relatively short period of time. It's very possible. Here are some of the testimonials that came about from the masterclass that I think are just absolutely riveting. Okay, with the help of my strategist, which this is how the school works, is the coaches that I coach, I train the strategists, they walk with women through the masterclass. In this context, I am going to walk through it with those of you that are interested in this kind of transformation. So with the help of my strategist and the founder of the Women's School, January Donovan, I was able to grow in ways that I never knew I was capable of. This class is more than just trying to better yourself. It's finding yourself, studying your behaviors, your feelings, your thoughts, and learning to love exactly who you were made to be. It's learning to recalibrate when something might not be going exactly the way that you were planning. It's rewiring your brain to think in ways that you never knew you could. And loving, treating others the way they deserve to be treated and respected. Doesn't that sound whole? It doesn't sound compromised. In the beginning, I was very hesitant about paying the amount for this class, but I reached out to my strategist to see if I could come to the class first and see if it was worth it. So let me tell you all, it's 1000% worth it. The Women's School has been the best decision I've made since marrying the love of my life last year. The Women's School has flexible payment plans, and that's the route I took in order to invest in myself. I strongly believe every woman should be taking this class, and the price of the class shouldn't stand in the way of your calling to this life. I've spent a lot of time pleasing, perfecting, performing for others, and a big eye-opener to this class was that I've discovered my worth, and I am chiseling away each day to mold myself into the best version of me that I can be. This is a beautiful, young, just out of college woman who's saying, whoa, I actually get to design my life. Isn't that powerful? How about Carrie? The woman's school took that tired, defeated mama and showed me how to pray each day, how to show up to my family with grace, even when things were less than perfect. It's even helped me to make an effective routine with my husband, to start having weekly date nights, intentional time with our children, and to create boundaries to help keep us from burnout. The woman's school has brought beautiful intentionality into my motherhood. And Emily says, I now have a vision and direction. I now have a strategy to go after the dreams I want. I know my purpose. I have peace. I have a marriage that looks to a future with excitement. I wake up every day excited to keep working towards the woman who I want to become. The woman's school literally breathed life back into me, my marriage, and my family. I know these women personally. I've had the privilege of working with them. And I can tell you that it is so profound when you encounter a woman who has language for her pain, skills for the struggle, self-awareness, strategies, words and affirmations and scripts that she uses on a regular basis to ground herself back on the path, point her back in the right direction. Because let's just face it, all of us have to deal with the waves of life. But wouldn't it be amazing if instead of feeling crashed upon, you felt like you were able to pivot and hold your composure and dance through the waves, do a little surfing on top once in a while. And when you get pulled under, you will know how to pick yourself back up and get back on track and not be derailed by the bumps, the bruises, the frustrations, because you'll know how to dream. You'll know how to set goals, how to prioritize what's important, how to make sure that you are putting in priority what needs to be held on to, and how to let go of the rest, how to be detached. These are the skills that the Women's School Masterclass hit home and help you to develop. Okay, here's our little essential oil spot for the moment. Your wounds, your compass. Your wounds become your compass. All of us have unforgiveness and frustration. And as we learn to fail forward, and we have to do this even for our bodies, we have to fortify our immunity repeatedly, right? It's not a one and done kind of thing. I was nutritious 10 years ago, right? I took vitamin C once upon a time. We have to continually dip ourselves back into the stream of forgiveness. We have to heal from the inside out. So I love Forgive, this oil, this very herbaceous oil. It reminds me of the cross. It has myrrh and it has arbor vitae, the tree of life, not like the cross. And it has other real herbaceous herbs that have kind of a bitter note, but they're beautiful. And it also serves both for an immune support as well as what we call a neurodisruptor to help break down the myelin sheath around neural pathways that have developed from trauma, to give you a chance to forgive, a chance to breathe again, a chance to try again. So if you are experiencing symptoms of PTSD or other kinds of trauma from your past, or even just really defeated thinking, where you're just like, I can't, I won't, I never, I don't, then you can use Forgive aromatically, thinking about those thoughts, and then just let them go and reinstate a new pattern of thinking, a new prayer routine, a new dedicated, focused initiative in your mind. This is really amazing stuff. So I love Forgive. It's not wonky. It's not woo-woo. It's not any of that, right? It's simply chemical compounds that are effective in supporting you in being more capable to open yourself up to forgiveness. Because we know that our emotional life and our choices and even our moral choices and those types of traumas, they do leave scars. And we have to be very delicate, but deliberate in trying to break free of those things. So there you go. Forgive essential oil. I absolutely love it. All right, so now we're going to deep dive into the Women's School Masterclass a little bit, and I'm going to talk to you about what it takes, compromised to composed, right? My wounds become the compass that inspired me to dream and create the Women's School. It's a quote from January Donovan. Her own journey through a post-abortive encounter as a young high schooler all the way through her journey of being trained and fortified in Steubenville and experiencing formation like never before, into a thriving marriage and now a thriving business. Those wounds prepared her and compelled her forward. So when you think this is all for naught, I don't get it, why does this have to happen? Pause and just know that when we encounter struggle and we encounter pain, it has a purpose. And that purpose is the process that you're going through. That process to wholeness is the point. That is the point of the journey of life, is the process of growth, of harmonizing ourselves with what God has etched into us. For Saint Therese, it took her 24 short years. She was ready, straight shot, right? For most of us, it takes a lifetime. But we don't know what we're given. We don't know how long we have. So the sooner we mount up with intentionality, integration, integrating our mindset, our skill set, learning how to integrate our wholeness, our nutrition, along with our budget and our family, right? All of these different dynamics, all the spokes of the wheel that we all have to contend with, they all touch each other and they all relate. And some areas we're super strong, and we can lean on that and use that as evidence to remind our brain, hey, brain, we got this. We got this. Let's plan, let's be intentional, let's implement. We can move the needle forward. So January created a school and a business that trained women in business and trained women in their life, but also a business of training them how to train others, which is so amazing. And this is the beautiful work of this masterclass. This masterclass is something that gets to be duplicated in your life and in the life of your children and in the life of your friends. So beautiful. And I just love the idea that it won't take you 20 years of tears like it did for me, right? Men married 20 years now. Isn't that amazing? 20 years. Let's fast track you. And maybe you can say, well, it's taking me a whole lot longer. That's okay. Time is short now. Let's go. The cost of an untrained life is that we don't become who we were created to be. You only get one round. And I don't want you being at the end of the journey looking back with regret. A woman without a vision perishes. One of the things that we're going to teach you within this class is how the neuroplasticity of the mind allows us to focus on new things, utilizing the just built-in God-given capacity of our RAS, the reticular activating system, our prefrontal cortex, right? The ability to put into focus something new, to expand a dream that scares us. You might say, boy, numb is fine. Composed, she's a little scary. That idea that, boy, I might actually be able to hold myself in poise, that I might actually not lose my cool. I don't know who she is yet, and she seems a little daunting. But when we begin to dream and we allow our mind to go to work on that dream, maybe it's a business goal. Maybe you're one of my fellow entrepreneurs and you're a little bit nervous about claiming that you actually are going to succeed. Setting your goals outside of scarcity and this low rung of, oh, I don't know if I'll ever make it. I don't know if I'll ever punch through. I don't know if I have what it takes. I feel like an imposter, right? If you're going to step into belief using your reticular activator, before you know it, your brain is going to start piecing it together. That's the genius God gave you in your intelligence and in your will to be able to utilize your imagination for good. When I was studying in France all those years ago, talking about the imagination, talking about Plato and Aristotle and the imagination, in a lot of respects, I was kind of afraid. The imagination can lead to a lot of not so good things, especially in an over-sexualized culture, right? Full of all kinds of crazy. The imagination can often get a bad rap. But what if we pointed our imagination towards the good? What did God intend it for? To be the design, the dream center, the place of rethinking what's possible, to be innovative, to be on the forefront of something new, to be that new kind of woman that shows up with resilience and with vigilance in the midst of difficult times. That's what we're going to teach you how to do. I wanted to offer you Rose as another beautiful glimpse into the oil world, because it's the oil that teaches us to have a mindset of abundance. Of course, we relate it with our Blessed Mother, and she's full of grace, full. Rose really symbolizes the wholeness. It's so beautiful. And it symbolizes not only wholeness and fullness, but generosity, that overwhelming outflowing of magnanimity, and that idea that I could be such a woman who no longer is like, oh my gosh, my cup is almost dry and I'm about to die, to I'm a woman who has excess joy, excess wealth, excess positivity to share, to mentor, to give back, excess energy to dance with my kids, to no longer feel pain just riddled through my body because I know how to care for my body. I have command of my thinking, and I'm not just the overeating, and I have true food freedom, right? I'm a woman of discipline. That's what I love about Rose. Rose embodies that. So beautiful, so highly valued, and it's so feminine, beautifully feminine. I hope that you get a hold of Rose. So what do you want? What do you want? Not want? What don't you want? In your self-image, in your health, right? Are you sick of overwhelm, being overweight, anxiety, physical exhaustion? Are you struggling to create boundaries, to manage critics in your friendships? Or would you like to find friends who are willing to support you in your dreams? How about in wealth? Are you sick of not having enough time, enough money, too much stress? What do you want? What don't you want? This is the fundamental question I want to ask you. And when you're ready and you actually choose in and you say, you know what, I'm ready to declare what I want, then I want you to think, how do I get there? You don't get to ask the how until you've crystallized the idea of what it is you want. Most of us sit here and think, oh, the how's impossible. No, it's just around the corner. So my last oil for you this evening is Whisper. Whisper is a blend that was designed to be a feminine, just a beautiful feminine blend. And it reminds me of the glory of silence and the fact that God speaks into our hearts through the whisper. So we learn to nurture ourselves, to prioritize ourselves, to sanctify our image, to remember that we are an icon to the world, to our children, to our spouses. And when we are depleted and we don't care for our appearance and we let ourselves go, that icon says, God's glory is no longer pulsing through me. I'm just forgotten. I'm cast aside. I'm not worth it. I will invite you to discover Whisper, to use it as a reminder that your self-care, your soul care, your time of silence is incredibly important. Your dedication to actually skilling up, to learning, to growing is more important than your kids' braces or whatever it is that we prioritize over and above ourselves. We cannot give from an empty cup. So I invite you to discover this and to choose in. So the class, here's the breakdown. Over the course of the next 16 weeks, will be invited to go on a journey. Okay, there's 3 parts: discovering the dream, designing every part of your life, and becoming the woman that you were called to be. In the first 4 lessons, we're going to talk about the wholeness journey, discovering your dreams, your life of wholeness, your mindset, your attitude. We'll touch on necessary skills for life, on how to design your self-image in accordance with God's image of you. We'll talk about optimal health, mental and emotional. We'll go into physical and spiritual health. We'll look at friendships and cultivating a sacred, intimate space within your relationship with your spouse. And if you're single, how that plays out in your life. And then we will move into rediscovering your unique contribution, creating an impactful environment, redefining wealth with purpose in your family matters, your family of origin. How are you going to rectify facing those struggles and choosing to love and move forward? What's the strategy? We'll wrap it all up on week 16. Every other week of the class that you'll be watching your videos at home, we will meet and mastermind together. I will coach you personally within the context of the group, it's always easier to see the speck in your neighbor's eye than the plank in your own. So I love group coaching because people will bring questions and challenges, and you will see how to apply those to your life. This 16-week journey will absolutely, it'll revolutionize the way that you see yourself. So just think, between now and Thanksgiving, you can change, you can grow, you can shift, you can begin to see that dream that you once had of yourself begin to come to fruition. There's 3 ways in which you can get a hold of this masterclass. You can utilize it through private strategy, where you actually get to work with me one-on-one, even outside of the group, much more in depth, much more personal, way, way, way more impact, just because then you have me one-on-one for 45 minutes, 8 times in the midst of that 16-week journey. You can do it in a premium mastermind group, which means you get access to the class and the mastermind group setting indefinitely. You actually can repeat the class multiple times, lifetime access. Or you can do it in a limited group mastermind, which is you have access to the course material for a full 8 months. So that's like double the amount of time that it'll take us to go through the course. So you'll have at least enough time to go through it once. What I recommend is the premium or private strategy, simply because that allows you that access to continually deep dive into the different season, the different dream, the different moments that your life emerges. And this will become a tool to help you scale multiple times over. So as we wrap up, I hope you found value. I hope you see yourself in those beautiful testimonies of those women who unlocked their fulfillment, that secret, that joy, that enthusiasm. Like I shared from my journey, to go from that place of depletion and frustration and sorrow and anger and lacking of belief that what I dreamt once could be possible, to being in a place where now, as the director of the Wholeness Coaching School, I get to help bring impact to thousands of women all across the world. Through my work with you in essential oils, how I've been able to do that, without compromising my babies, without, giving up on my marriage. In fact, seeing my marriage bloom and actually thrive more than it ever has, to see our wealth expand, to see our home being created, to seeing friendships flourish. Such a beautiful possibility. Do you believe it's possible for you? I hope so. If you choose the private strategy option, you're going to get all 4 of my essential oils tonight included. So I just wanted to sweeten the pot there for you, especially for those of you that love your oils and understand their beautiful value. So what's going to happen next is I'm going to invite you to grab this link. Whoops. As I did that, I just botched my screen share. Hold on. Let me do this again. Okay. To grab this link, greatnessjourney.typeform.com/wholeness quiz. This is going to be a quiz that's going to give you an assessment of where you are in this spectrum, from compromised to composed, from depleted to scaling. This is what I want you to do. I want you to just go, and I want you to discover, where are you in this dream process? And then get on a call with me, and I'm going to help you. And we're going to move from possible. Yeah, that's possible. We're going to stretch your dream, and we're even going to start to look at what's impossible to you and begin to bring that into focus. I'm really thankful for your time tonight and for coming on a journey with me, and just realizing that this is a little different kind of webinar than I've taken you on before. But nonetheless, I'm so thrilled. I couldn't not share this masterclass opportunity with you. So here's the deal. Take the assessment. We will talk. And when you're ready, you can springboard into this masterclass with us, into this coaching experience that I have a feeling is going to leave you transformed, just like the other women I've shared with. Thank you so much for your time. I can't wait to have you in the mastermind with these other beautiful women who are finding their footing. And let's keep moving. Let's keep aiming high. It's worth it. All right, my friends. Thank you. Take care.